Hi everyone, this is Dr. Sabina Hussain Syed, Assistant Professor in Genbas Openrao Mose College of Pharmacy. Welcome you all to my YouTube channel Cognosy Made Easy. In this session, we are going to learn about tips and tricks in pharmacognosy, and it's part 2. In the part 1, I have told you some tips and tricks. In continuation with that, we are going to continue this lecture. So before that, I request everyone to subscribe my YouTube channel Cognosy Made Easy. So let's enter into the subject. So in the last video, I have explained you some tips and tricks involved in remembering the synonym, biological source, geographical source, cultivation and collection, morphological characters, chemical constituent, microscopical characters, and chemical test. Okay, in this video also I am going to again revise about the chemical tests. Okay, and along with that I will tell you about how to remember the uses and adulterants. Okay, so in the chemical test, as I have told you that it is very much important in pharmacognostic characteristics, in learning the pharmacognostic characteristics in the chemical test. But to remember the chemical test, you just apply the basic chemical knowledge to us here, okay, before entering into this chemical test. So let's take an example and see how we can easily remember. For example, take this Bontrager test. Here in the Bontrager test, it is said that the drug is boiled with dilute sulfuric acid, filtered, and the filtrate. Then benzene is added, shaken well, organic layer is added, to which ammonia is added, and this ammonical layer shows pink to red color due to the presence of anthraquinone glycosides. So in this, we have to remember around 2 to 3 reagents. But if you understand why these reagents are being added, then it makes easy to remember. And moreover, do not write this test in a sentence-wise manner. Just if you write in a reaction way, it is easy to remember. Now let's see how the things can be made simple. Now in this, the senna leaves are going to be taken, and to that we are going to add this water and dilute sulfuric acid, which we are going to boil and filter. Why this sulfuric acid hydrolysis is being done means to separate the glycone and aglycone part. Okay, to separate the aglycone and glycone parts. Once these parts are being separated, to dissolve this aglycone, we are going to add this benzene. So aglycone is dissolved in benzene. Okay, to that aglycone solvent, containing aglycone solvent, we are going to add ammonia. So this ammonia, upon reaction with aglycones, it will give you pink to red color. So this test is now became simple. Like drug taken, sulfuric acid is added, hydrolyzed. To that we are going to add the benzene to dissolve this aglycone part. To that aglycone part we are going to add the ammonia, which gives the pink or red color. Okay, this is made the simple. So always write in a reaction way, so it is going to be very appealing and you can easily remember. Next, coming to modified Bontrager test. In the modified Bontrager test, what you are going to do, the name itself is indicating modified. So Bontrager test is modified. So how it is modified means the difference between those two is that's only the addition of ferric chloride. Okay, only the addition of the ferric chloride, and the rest is ferric chloride in HCl, and the rest, the test is same. So why this ferric chloride and HCl is added in place of sulfuric acid means, in these plants like aloe, rhubarb and cascara, it contains CC bond glycosides, means the aglycone and the glycone both are going to be joined by CC bond. Okay, in senna it is CO bond, and breakage of CC bond is very much stronger than CO bond. So that's why they are going to add this strong oxidizing agent like ferric chloride and HCl to break the glycone and aglycone part. Okay, so that's the reason in modified Bontrager test, ferric chloride and HCl is added, because these three plants contain CC bond. between the glycone and aglycone part. If you see, after the breakage of the bond, again the aglycone part is going to be separated in ether or benzene or chloroform. To that, again they are going to add this ammonia, same rose pink to cherry color. The only difference is ferric chloride and HCl, because it is a strong oxidizing agent required to break the CC bond present in these three plants. So if you understand the chemistry involved, then chemical tests are going to be very, very, very easy. Now other test if I want to take is the Keller-Kiliani test. This is Keller-Kiliani test is done for digitalis, okay, cardiac glycosides. So let's understand the chemicals that are being added, why it is being added. Here digitalis again taken, to that alcohol is added and it is boiled for 2 to 3 minutes. So when it is boiled and it undergoes hydrolysis, again the glycone and glycone part are going to be separated. Now to this you are going to add a reagent, that is add a chemical, that is lead acetate. Why means in the digitalis leaf tannins are also going to be present. The tannins will act as impurities. To separate those tannins, lead acetate is going to be added. Now once you add the lead acetate, tannin will get precipitated, which you have to filter and get the filtrate. Okay, now the filtrate containing this aglycone and glycone parts. To that chloroform is added and then it is evaporated. So here you are going to get the extract. To prepare this cardioglycosides extract, you have to hydrolyze, then you have to precipitate the tannins. After that, you have to add the chloroform to dissolve this glycone and aglycone. Then you have to evaporate it. So what you are going to get? You are going to get those glycone and aglycone part. Now after that, to the extract you are going to add the glacial acetic acid, ferric chloride and sulfuric acid. Okay, that will give you reddish brown color and it indicates the presence of digitoxose. It is a sugar molecule. So this Keller-Kiliani test is used to detect the presence of digitoxose, and this sugar moiety is only confined to the digitalis. So indirectly we know that the plant that is being given is a digitalis plant. So here how you are going to remember the Keller-Kiliani test? Just simple, hydrolyze the glycoside, separate the glycone and aglycone part. After that, add the lead acetate to separate the tannins, then take the chloroform to dissolve the glycone and aglycone part. To that, add the ferric chloride and sulfuric acid, which gives the bluish green color and it indicates the presence of digitoxose. So in the chemical test, please try to understand the chemistry involved in that, so that it is going to be very, very easy. And one more most important thing in the chemical test is always try to remember the named reactions, named chemical tests. For example, like Dragendorf, Meyers, Hager's, Thalloquin test. So in any plant, if the chemical tests are having a named chemical reaction test, then you have to remember that very well. Okay, never they are going to mostly they do not ask the unnamed reactions. Okay, they are going to ask most of the times the named chemical tests. So have focus on those chemical tests which are named, like Legal test, Baljet test, Keller-Kiliani test, Born-Traeger test, modified Born-Traeger test, Thalloquin test. So all the named reactions remember very well. Okay, so I hope everyone clear with this chemical tests. Now coming to the uses. In the uses, most of the drugs, what you are going to study, it also comes under the pharmacology. So it is going to be very easy for you to remember the uses, as you are going to be covering in the pharmacology subject also, like reserpine, antihypertensive, Vinca, anti-cancer drug. So that's the easy part. So in pharmacognostic studies, the most important points to be remembered are the synonym, biological source, chemical constituents. In the biological source, plant part, plant name and family. Okay, now coming to the adulterants and substituents, so how we have to remember which adulterants we have to remember, which substituents we have to remember. So that's many times students are having some confusion with that. So what I suggest is, remember those adulterants and substituents which are going to have different characteristics with that of authenticated drug. Before that, I want to tell you what is the difference between adulterant and substituent. What is adulterant? Adulterant is nothing but it is a debasement of article. Knowingly we are going to adulterate. Okay, debasement of article intentionally for commercial purpose, or accidentally due to the lack of knowledge of proper identification and collection. Whereas substituent means it is a replacement of equivalent drugs. Here the equivalent drugs are going to be replaced in place of original drugs. Okay, but these adulterants are of low quality. Okay, that's the difference. So I want to tell you by taking an example of Nux vomica. So in Nux vomica, it is being obtained from Strychnus nux vomica, the plant. Now if you see the organoleptic characters, the seeds are greenish brown in color, disc shape, and it contains 1.5 to 5% of bitter alkali. This is the morphological characters of the Nux vomica, authenticated plant. Now if you see the substituent, Strychnus ignati, so it is dark green in color and it is ovoid in shape and it contains of 3% of alkalies. Okay, and among that 60% is strychnine. Now these characteristics are different with that of the authenticated drug. So you have to remember those characteristics. I have also explained in the morphological characters that this is how you have to remember. Only the morphological characters with which we can differentiate with that of the authenticated drug. Okay, so remember the adulterants and substituents characteristics which are different from that of authenticated drug. Okay, so next, after reading all these pharmacognostic characters, let's have an example, that is Pilocarpus, imidazole alkaloids. Now in this Pilocarpus, the synonym is jaborandi. Leaves of Pilocarpus jaborandi. So see, the synonym is in the plant name itself, so no need of remembering this synonym. So Pilocarpus jaborandi, done. Now the chemical constant is pilocarpine major. Other also are going to have pilo. So if it comes, if any chemical constant it comes in the GPAT, then easily you can remember. Okay, so no need of remembering this chemical constants too. And in uses, you can see that it is used in the treatment of glaucoma, which you are going to read in pharmacology. So in the Pilocarpus, what you have to remember? That nothing, because Pilocarpus jaborandi. Jaborandi is synonym. Pilocarpine is chemical constituent. Uses is in glaucoma. That's it. That makes this very, very simple. It makes very, very simple. Next example, ephedra. See, Ma Huang. This synonym is entirely different with that of the plant name. So you have to remember this ephedra as Ma Huang. And this dried young stem, this is the only part of the plant in all alkalides. Only part of the, no alkaloid is being obtained from true stem. Only ephedra is obtained from the true stem. So this is one of the specific characteristics. The plant name ephedra gerardiana, ephedra nebrodensis, ephedraceae, same. And again ephedra, ephedrine or ephedrine, same with that of the plant name. And it is a sympathomimetic drug. So this is how you can simplify the things in the learning pharmacognostic characters. Now if you see in the ephedra, what do you have to remember? Two things only. One is the synonym Ma Huang and another one is the dried young stem. Apart from that, all other are going to be with the same learning. Okay, so I hope that each and every student learned how to simplify the things in the pharmacognosy subject. Okay, so if you like this class, please do comment, and thank you so much for watching this video.